For before class, let me just say simply that preparation is key. In my experience, if I have time to prepare and I don't take the opportunity thinking I can wing it. I've given plenty of talks. It doesn't go well, right? It doesn't go well. The effort we go into preparing it really does many things. One of the things it does is it sets our intention. It sets our goal. We think through our audience, what their needs are, what I want to say, all those things, the content that we've discussed yesterday, that all happens in preparation. On the other hand, I found that if for some reason I end up being asked to speak and I have zero time to prepare, Krishna always helps. Right? He always helps us say something that is decent and appropriate. Right? So what I mean to say is that it's not that we can't ever speak without preparation. What I mean to say is when Krishna gives us the opportunity and time to put in some effort to do something nicely for him, we should take it, not thinking that I don't need to because, even for a talk we've given many times before, it's worth thinking through in our head, reading through our notes, even a little bit of preparation for something we've done many times. There's one course in the university, Introduction to Hinduism, that I've taught for now close to 15 years, over and over and over again. But still, going into class, it's important to spend even half hour going through your notes, thinking through what you want to say, and adjusting it because you know your classroom, you know who's there, and their attitudes and needs are a little different than the previous class you taught. So your notes may be the same, but the audience changes, remember, and therefore our talk has to be adjusted. So preparation is important, and we should never think that, now I've come to a point where I don't need to prepare. I've never found that to be true, unless we're put into a circumstance where we genuinely cannot prepare. Krishna says, speak now, and you just got to do it, and he helps for that purpose. Okay, so how do we prepare? That's essentially the part one of today, okay, what comes before. So one cardinal principle for a teacher is to always choose clarity over erudition. Okay, you can put that down. Choose clarity over erudition. Anytime you have a choice of words, say between a difficult word like erudition and an easy word like learning, then you should choose learning. Right? Don't use erudition because half your audience is not going to get what it means, right? So remember, this is part of that cardinal principle we talked about earlier, which manifests in so many ways. It's not about me. And if it's not about me, then how learned I appear has very little to do with what I'm trying to convey. The heart of it is I'm trying to convey something. So clarity over erudition. That's always the heart of it. Second thing is that we choose one theme. Okay, you can put that down too. Choose one theme for the entire talk. Divide it into 3 or 4 sub-themes, and that's it, right? We don't have to cover a lot of ground because what's the point? There's no way we can cover even a tiny sliver of what there is to say about Krishna or about any subject, right? You choose one thing and you examine it from every angle. You study it threadbare. So that when the audience leaves, they have something to take with them. That's the question we want to think of when we're preparing. Is what's the takeaway for the audience? What are they going to leave with? What are they going to leave with in terms of their understanding? And what are they going to leave with in terms of their application? Both of those, we need to make sure that when an audience leaves or when we're conversing with someone and we're done with the conversation, what have they understood? And what can they apply? both of those, there has to be a takeaway in each one of those categories. Understanding should be deepened, and application needs to be deepened as well. And so it's nice to prepare a class with the goal in mind, right? Rather than here's all the things that I want to cover, which quickly becomes like a maze, right? Say you're giving a class for Janmashtami, okay? You've been said, please speak on Krishna for Janmashtami. So what are you going to talk about? Vrindavan Leela, and then also Dwarka Leela, and we should cover his speaking of Bhagavad Gita, and also talk about chapter 10 and how Krishna is present everywhere, and we should talk about chapter 11 and Vishvarupa, and then maybe how Krishna is the source of the material and spiritual creations, which requires me to introduce Mahavishnu and the Chaturvyuha, and then there's so much, right? This is Janmashtami. It's the birthday of the one person who encompasses everyone and everything. No, we can't do that. We choose one theme, right? Just one thing, and examine it in detail, and make sure that when the audience leaves, they've left with that one thing. And that one thing can have 3 parts to it, or 4 directions of looking at it, but just one thing, maybe 2, but not a whole lot, okay? Not a whole lot. We have to be realistic about what it is that we can actually cover, but more importantly, what we can actually convey, right? Because the measure of success is not how much you cover, but how much you convey.